Satellite weather.
Cloudy with showers today as we approach the afternoon. Some of those showers could be heavy too. Feeling fresher than yesterday though, with highs of 21 Celsius.
Allan Beswick with you on the phones. 0161 228 2255.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Are you all right? What is it with these Gurkhas, these little yellow soldiers? We let them fight our wars for them and they expect pensions like the big strong white ones. God almighty, no pleasing people. They'd just be running up and down mountains, living on bamboo sticks. Who cares? Not the British government, that's for sure. Well, anyway, I've got that off my chest. What have you got to say for... Hey, I've had a cracking idea. Oh, my God, it's brilliant. Brilliant. When I need a hip replacement, which they're doing all right at the minute, they're okay. There's nothing wrong with them. They work like everyone else's. Yeah. No, I'm not... No, please. No, I'm not looking for sympathy. And I don't need a hip replacement. But I'm just picking that as randomly. Because chaps of my age sometimes have to have them. Mine are all right. I've still got the bone ones. They're doing fine. But if I did, let's just say, if I did need a hip replacement, I'd have it done in Poland. No, well, there's a new plan. It's a European plan, and frankly, I'm all for it. It's an absolute cracker. The plan is, now we can all be NHS health tourists. There's a front page of the Daily Mail. Every NHS patient, that's everyone, really, is to be given the right to go abroad for free treatment. They'll be able to escape queues and the fear of superbug infections and head anywhere within Europe under a blueprint for health tourism. In almost all cases, they'll be able to send the bill to the NHS. So this is how it went. No, that's not... What's happening is Europe have decided that we all ought to be able to travel anywhere in Europe to have us bits cut off or new ones glued on or whatever. Anywhere, we're allowed. It's not happened yet, but this was what they're discussing. And the plan seems to be that one European Union resident can go to a country that may not be the country of his birth or indeed his nationality or indeed of his residence. In other words, he doesn't have to be born there, live there, or be registered there. So there he is, living quietly in France. And he needs a hip replacement. So he thinks, OK, I'll hobble away to Germany. Just for sake. And he goes to Germany. Because he likes their hospitals, and it's nice to go the other way, because quite a lot of Germans have been to France over the years, one way or another. So he goes to Germany and thinks, well, that'll be nice. I can have my leg done and a bit of sausage too. You can't beat it. And maybe some of that strong beer. And come home with a new hip and some leather trousers. Short, I'll grant you, but leather nonetheless. That'll be nice. So that's what I'll do. So he goes off to Dusseldorf and he buys his short-legged trousers with bibs and his stein, which is basically a mug with a lid. I know. And then he waddles off to the hospital and he gets his, I'll do your leg. Off with the leg. On with the old. Out with the old. In with the new. Here is your new. I'm beginning to sound like the governor of California, but never mind. Here is your new hip. The hip? The hip is superb. This is the hip of hips, is this hip? And then with his new hip, he goes back home and he says to his friends, look at my little German hip. Now, I put my towel on the sunbed. It's very good, this hip. But he also then goes... There are a few stereotypes, I'll grant you that. But then he goes to the French health service. And hello, Mr. Health Service. I have had my hip done in Dusseldorf. And it cost... It doesn't matter what it cost. I want my money. What do you mean you want your money? It's the European rule. I have my operation in the Düsseldorf. So the service health has to pay me what they would have paid for the operation avec à la hip. Okay, and they give him the money, that's fine. So that's the plan. The same can work the other way round, but I couldn't do the accents. Or Spain, or Italy, or Poland, or whatever. So that's the plan. So what you do, you have your operation in another country within Europe, and then when you get home, you have to pay for that. You've got to pay, private, and then when you get home, you claim what it would have cost your health service to do your operation. Yeah, you claim it off them, and you say, oi, that would have cost you the 5,000, the 5, what's 1,000? I don't know. Is it a lot of money? Hey, oui. Yeah, beaucoup franc. Well, they're all euros, aren't they now? Beaucoup euro. So, I want what it would have cost you. Here you are. Here is le check for, le carte bleu, le check for, what's for in, I don't know. I don't even know what France is for, let alone what's for in French. Okay, here is the money. And they give him the money, you see, what they've not had to spend doing his it, because he's had it done in Dusseldorf. Are you still with it? It's like bloody Jackanory sometimes. So, that's what happened, which is... Now, that's not that good an idea. It's just an idea that they've had in Europe. They're going to talk about it. Why am I so pleased by it? Well, here's the answer. You go to have your it replaced in Poland. I'm not going to do the accents. I've no idea what Poles sound like. They usually say things like, oh, we can plaster that. A plumber? Yeah, I'm a good plumber. Yeah, time served, no problem. Yeah, that's the kind of thing Polish people say as far as I understand it. Anyway, so there you are, in Poland, having your it done. And you say, have you done the it? Yeah, you've made a very good job. Can I have a receipt? Yes, you can. And they give you a receipt for the hip replacement. Because you have to pay. So you go out there and it costs you, I don't know, what will it cost you? 2,000-3,000 euros? So there you are, you've written your cheque. And then you come home and you say to the National Health Service, how much does it cost you to do an hip replacement? And they say 8,000 quid. Right. Well, I've had mine done, look. Oh, knock of that. Doing, doing. See? It's metal, is that? Doing, doing. I had it done in Poland. Here's the receipt. And they say, OK, according to the rules, here's the money, what we would have spent had we done it. 8 grand. 8 grand? But it only cost me 3. So that's it. That's how it's going to work. So you get a new hip, you get surrounded by poles, but good God almighty, you can get that on a building site. You get surrounded by poles, you get a new hip, and you make a profit big enough to pay your mortgage off. It's a brilliant system.
Your Sunday morning lie-in with Mike Shaft.
The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe was a huge hit. Why do you think it's still relevant to today?
Quentin Tarantino famously said that cinema is the new church, and it's not at all preachy. No one would sit there and say, I feel like I'm in a religious education lesson.
Mike Shaft.
What is the status of religion in our modern society?
For many writers, religion is something which the modern writer has reacted against and would see religion as being an authority which they will defy in their punkish and poetic way.
Manchester's faith, spirit, and life's difficult questions with Mike Shaft.
What was so scary about him?
Sunday morning from 7 on BBC Radio Manchester.
I may have given the impression I was mocking the idea, and frankly, I don't have an opinion. You know me, I'm straight down the line, not bothering in the middle. Try not to get involved. That's me, as you know. I try to keep my opinions to myself. Anyway. Oh, and thank you very much. I don't know why you're anonymous over this. I suppose if I knew the French language, I'd keep it a secret as well, but a text without a name. I love your accents. I don't blame you. They're very good, aren't they? And pour is the French far. Far. So there, pour, as in, yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay. George in Ashton underlines says he wants to go to Amsterdam for a hip operation, but only if he can then go window shopping afterwards to test it out. Oh, you don't want to be going, even window shopping, you don't want to be going round Amsterdam a couple of days after having your hip replaced. No, because they've got a lot of cobbles. I know, they've got a lot of other stuff as well, but we're not on about that. They've got a lot of cobbles. I've had a look at them windows in Amsterdam. Some of them women are alive, you know. I know, it's strange. And Amsterdam is like, it's weird, but it's like Ethel Austin. Every shop in Amsterdam is Ethel Austin, because all the women sit in the window in their nighties and their underwear. And I think that's brilliant, because it's keeping them in work, and they're just modelling knickers. It's super. No, honestly, you walk down the main sort of tourist street, and every other shop's an Ethel Austin shop. And these women sat there, and they have nice chairs and everything. And the display, you know, like when you go past the Ethel Austin shop, and there's all the knickers. What do you mean you don't notice? Don't be at it. And you go past, and there's all, the models, and they're not real. They're made out of plastic, and there's all the models, the mannequins, wearing underwear. Now, I've looked, and when you take the knickers off, it's all smooth underneath. They're not hiding anything. So they just demonstrate... No, in Ethel Austin. And they're just demonstrating the clobber. And then you get to Amsterdam, and as I say, every other shop is an Ethel Austin shop. But instead of having mannequins, the ladies what are modelling the underwear are real. It's extraordinary. I don't buy a lot of ladies' underwear. I mean, some of my colleagues do, but then some of them are women. But I don't buy a great deal of ladies' underwear on account of Marks and Spencer's do lower decker knacker stackers that are perfectly fine for me. So I don't bother with the ladies' stuff. Who am I suddenly? Rod Stewart? I don't wear ladies' underwear often. So I've eroded it more than once, but I've never worn it. And but all them shops, and the Amsterdam people, the men in Amsterdam, are less shy than me, because I've got to be honest with you. If my wife said to me, "I'd like you to go and get me, a new nightie," then I don't think I would. I think I'd say, well, I might find that a bit embarrassing. And buying negligee for your female partner, I think, is a little bit sexist, because I think you're hoping to get something out of it, as it were. Yeah, well, yeah, you want to see it in it first, but then you want to get it out of it. I agree with that. Yeah, so I think that's just a little bit. It's not my cup of tea. It's like buying her a fridge because she cooks a lot. You know what I mean? So no, but they don't seem to mind, because these Ethel Austin shops in Amsterdam, it's mainly men what are going in and out of them. It is, and it's really strange, because normally you walk past an Ethel Austin shop in the high street, and if you do go in and purchase an item, then the lady that serves you. But in Amsterdam, because I've seen it happen, there they are, modelling the underwear in the window, and then the bloke goes in, and the woman has to come out the window to serve him. Which is, it's strange, isn't it? Yeah. It's very good. I've no idea. But there it is. So I've nothing more to add than that. So it's a strange place, but as I say, Amsterdam, I don't know how we got onto Amsterdam. Oh, it was him with his testing his new hip. No, there's lots of cobbles. But they do. Anyway, they have all these Ethel Austin shops, and the models in the window are real humans, ladies probably, and they model the underwear, and then chaps go in, obviously, to buy underwear for their loved ones, and the ladies go out the window to serve in the shop. It's extraordinary.
Lunchtimes belong
Never
to
happened here.
Beswick.
Allan Beswick.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Neil in Bevington says, you asked what France is for. France is for the Rainbow Warrior. Neil in Bevington. You remember the Rainbow Warrior? The Rainbow Warrior was a private ship. Not a privateer, but a private ship. And it got involved, a Greenpeace ship. And it got involved in all kinds of stuff. Upsetting whalers and all them sort of things. Never seen the sense in it myself. But when it was in harbour, in New Zealand, I think, it was blown up by French, well, SAS or SBS men. Whilst it was in... So it was parked up in New Zealand, and French spies blew it up. Think he's having a go.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Headline news.
Israeli police have shot dead a man who plowed a bulldozer into a bus in West Jerusalem, killing 2 people. There's been a mixed reaction from businesses to plans for a congestion charge and public transport improvements in Greater Manchester at a meeting earlier today. And the joint owner of Birmingham City Football Club, David Sullivan, has denied indecently assaulting a 25-year-old woman. Manchester's weather generally unsettled with showers. Some of those could be heavy too. Temperatures up to about 21 Celsius. I'm Mark Edwardson.
BBC Radio Manchester 2020 traffic.
Well, thankfully, it all seems fairly quiet out on the main routes around the area. Not doing too badly on the M602, heading on to the Mancunian Way. And all seems fairly quiet on the M60 as well. I've just checked the cameras around Junction 12 at the Eccles interchange, through towards Junction 17 at Prestwich. And again, no major delays to report, thankfully. Just a quick reminder of where some of the roadworks are in the area. In Didsbury Road around Melton Road, you'll notice roadworks underway there with some temporary traffic lights in operation at that junction. So do expect 1 or 2 slight delays on the approach to that area. And if you're heading through the Little Hulton area of Greater Manchester, Kenyon Way on the A6 Manchester Road West down to 1 lane whilst gas maintenance work continues. Any further problems you spot though this afternoon, why not call in and update us if you can on 0161 244 4951. I'm Carl Banks.
Decongesting Manchester, 1 car at a time. 2020 traffic.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Derek in Lee is still smarting from being put in his place yesterday. Meet me halfway, Alan. Pete Postlethwaite lived in Goulburn. Not to be confused with Georgie Fame, born in Cotton Street, Lee, real name Clive Powell. So says Derek in Lee. Well, you see, the problem here is, Derek, that Goulburn used to actually say Goulburn, Warrington. And if you ask Postlethwaite where he's from, he says Warrington. Not Goulburn, Warrington. Now, if I said to you, Derek, you're from Wigan, you'd have plenty to say about that, wouldn't you? Because I know how much the people of Lee love being referred to as Wigan. Exactly. So, I'm sorry, we've moved no further forward. You're still in the doghouse. There's no need to meet you halfway. No at all. You were wrong, and you'll just have to live with it. Chris in Middleton says, talking about health, Alan, I've been taking all the advice about getting me 5 a day for the last couple of years. This has resulted in having loads of orange peel, banana skins, apple cores, and various vegetable leaf waste to get rid of. We've recently been given recycling bins in Middleton, but we're not allowed to put this healthy green waste in the garden rubbish bin for recycling, along with weeds, branches and grass cuttings, for turning into compost, or whatever they turn it into. You're a keen gardener, Alan, naturalist and man of the land. So, do you know why not? Fruit and veg wastes sounds like good material to me for making compost. Well, it might be that the breakdown rate of... Yeah, it's like an English car from the 60s. It's got a very fast breakdown rate. The breakdown rate, the decomposition rate of fruit and vegetables, particularly cooked vegetables, but all of them, is a lot faster than your garden waste, except for grass. Grass turns to slime quite quickly. So it might be related to that. But frankly, I think they're being a bit picky. Because certainly, fruit and veg. The other reason might be that if they said, well, all right, you can put fruit and vegetable waste in it, people might take that to mean food waste and end up putting things like meat in it, which is not good. Not good at all. So that's the best I can do for you. Well, that might be the reason. But have you thought of asking the council? They'll know. Brian says, I've tuned in eagerly awaiting the next exciting episode of Alan's thrilling Bird Box adventures. How much longer do I have to wait? We've moved on, Brian. By some margin. We've been window shopping in Amsterdam since then. I hope for your sake the lawyers for Ethel Austin aren't listening. It could prove rather expensive. Why? All I did was they said they sell knickers. Who? Ethel Austin sell knickers? God bless and save us, I wear enough glasses to know that. Stop it. 0161 228 2255. Yeah, John in Atherton has witnessed the same thing in Amsterdam, where the men go window shopping and then they go into the shop and the mannequin, which is actually not a mannequin but a living woman, modelling the underwear in the window, leaves the window to serve him. And he said, John in Atherton says, he said, and if you've noticed, Alan, when the men do go into the Ethel Austin type shops, the underwear emporia in Amsterdam, it takes them ages to get served. Some of them don't come out for an hour or so. And they only buy something small because they have it in their pocket, often hidden in a tube of Smarties, I've heard. So, well, that's because they don't want their wife to find it. Oh, God, do they? They don't want their wives and girlfriends to find it. So they do. They hide it in a used-up tube of Smarties. Exactly. Alan, if they run out of stock of underwear, are they modelling... what? If they run out of the stock of the underwear they're modelling, can you still get the one on display? That's Pete in Eccles. Now, I think that's crude. I'm sorry, but you're lowering the standards, sir. There are limits. There are places we will not go. Phil in Whitefield. Hiya, Phil.
Good afternoon, Alan. How are you keeping?
I'm very well.
Jolly good.
For some reason,
I
my
hope
blood
that I
pressure's
won't be banned from future speaking to you, but I've been married for 53 years, and I've always, early days, bought my wife Sundays. And I remember once going into a shop...
Hang on. Did you say I bought my wife on a Sunday?
No, bought my wife's undies.
Undies? I'm
terribly sorry.
I had an entirely different picture then, Phil, but go on, right.
I can quite believe it.
Yeah, go on. So you purchased your...
I went into this shop and I said to the girl, I've come to buy a bra for my wife and I like that one in the window. Have you it in size 30? And she looked at me absolutely puzzled. And she said, there's no such thing as a size 30 bra. I says, well, I take a size 15 bowler hat, and that covers one of them. Okay.
Yeah, see, it's best out, isn't it? You don't want to hold that in, you'll be all well. Thank you very much. Have a good day. 0161 228 2255. I don't know we've got it yet. I don't. It's too difficult. What are you going on about with Ethel Austin? The difference between Ethel Austin and the shops in Amsterdam is that the shops in Amsterdam... What? Yeah, the shops in Amsterdam won't go into receivership. Is that what's happened to Ethel Austin? I've no idea. As I say, I'm not an aficionado of purveyors of ladies' underwear. Funny you should go on about ladies in Amsterdam windows. I was there a couple of weeks ago and surprisingly was told that these ladies were offering their services by displaying themselves in the said windows. Lo and behold, I get back to Manchester, walking down John Dalton Street, when I spotted this little red-haired man doing exactly the same thing. He's referring to the story last week when I sat in a window. Well, I didn't, but he says I did because he's not well. I sat in a window in John Dalton Street and counted the vehicles. I know it's sad. I didn't say it wasn't sad. Counted the vehicles going past. And over 100 of them, and just that little bit of a measure, over 100 of them had drivers who were using handheld mobile phones at the time. Teddy in Moston says the French may not be very good at fighting the Germans, but they are good at fighting eco-terrorists. I would personally like to thank the French intelligence agency. I hope they go after Heather Mills McCartney next. Or they go anywhere near her, she's wise enough to whop it. 0161 228 2255. Alan in Stockport says, are you mixing up Ethel Austin with Ann Summers? I've no idea, is all I've got to say there. No idea. I remember underwear on display in Ethel Austin. I don't know who Ann Summers is, but I wish her well, whoever she is, without a doubt. Yes, Alan, it's the same shop as I went into It's a hands-on shop, not DIY. Mike. That'll make sense to someone, but I'm not him. 0161 228 2255. I will be... What? Oh, here we go. I'm trying not to mention this, but I'm stuck with it now. Carl from Wigan says, I will be cheering for Nadal against Murray today. Ever since Scotland got their own parliament, they've become little Scotlanders. I will also repatriate all Scots back to Scotland, and we wouldn't have any employment. I think he means unemployment in England. That's Carl in Wigan. You'd send them all home, would you? That's a bit harsh. I wouldn't, you see. I like foreigners. Yeah, so I've not got a problem with the Scots being here. I wish they'd shut up about how good it is up there. I mean, I always get a bit peed off with that. When people say, I am from Glasgow. It's a grand place. Well, why don't you go home then? I'm the same with American. Fabulous America. Fine, go home. I'm the same with everyone. If I go to France and say, oh, yeah, you want to go to England, mate? Fantastic place. I expect the Frenchman to say, well, go home then. I'm perfectly happy to have them here, but I want them to like it here. Because they, because, I mean, we all have nostalgia for where we're from. Well, not all of us, but nearly everybody has nostalgia for where they're from, and why not? But actually whining on about how much better it is where you've come from is balmy. Just makes you look a clown, because there's you saying, oh, it's fantastic up there. Well, why are you here? Why, why are you here? Why are you here? If it's so blessed good up there, then stop there. Or go back there. Or down there. Or round there. Or whatever. I can't be doing with that. But I do welcome all foreigners. All foreigners. I just think it's fantastic. I think it's good for our country. So I'm all in favour of that. There you go. Joe in Manchester. Hiya, Joe.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm all right.
It's just about the recent losses in Afghanistan, the coalition soldiers, mainly British.
Yeah.
I think that the main issue is in Afghanistan at the moment is the poppies, isn't it? That the soldiers are mainly busy with, ruining the poppies. Why not? Because we all know that the main sources of Afghan peoples is the growing the poppies and selling it. That's the main sources for income for them. Sources of income for them. So why not we buying it from them and we use it in here, because we use morphine in our laboratories here in the West, and we need these things. So why we not buy it from them a better price, so they don't sell it to Taliban or other factions there, and then we can get them on board. I don't understand this. Why we're ruining their crops, and then we expect them to support us.
Well, I can tell you what the logic is.
Yes.
The West.
Yes.
The legitimate West, if you will,
sure,
doesn't have, or the West doesn't have a legitimate use for all the heroin, if you like, that would be produced from the poppies. So if they bought every poppy crop that is currently being farmed, they would simply destroy it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. What would happen then, the following year, is the farmers would think, hey, this is brilliant. If we grow poppies, the government buys it, whether it be the Afghan government or the coalition, but the government buys it. Fantastic. Let's all do it. And you will increase the size of the poppy produce, if you like, because you've got a guaranteed sale. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the majority of farmers, if not all farmers, but the majority of farmers in Afghanistan choose a different product, because they want their product, their produce, the poppy crop, to be worthless. They want them to choose a different crop. So that's what they're trying to do, to get the farmers to be financially motivated to purchase, to grow something else. Because if all you do is buy it off them, they'll grow some more. And more people will grow it. They'll just keep growing it because they've got a ready market.
Well, I understand that point, but in order to in order for them to use an alternative, like crop or do something else, they need to have the resources, they need to have the equipment, they need to have especially the water. Now, we all know that poppies they grow in the most bad situation. They don't need that much water. They just grow.
Yes, they're a very, very hardy crop. That's for sure. Yes.
Exactly. So if they wanna plant or grow grain or rice or anything else, they need a lot of things which they don't have. And I don't know how.
Well, first of all, Joe, there are a couple of things there that, even if that were true, and I'll deal with that in a moment, but even if that were true, you've still got the situation, if you buy the crop from them, they will grow another one. Because that's what they do. If a farmer grows wheat and nobody buys it, he doesn't grow it next year. He grows something else because he's got to sell his crop if he wants to live, because that's what it...
It's going to be so sorry to interrupt you, but it will be sold anyway.
But that's the point, Joe. If you say to the farmers of Afghanistan, grow poppies, we will guarantee to buy your crop, you are not solving the problem.
I'm not saying for now. I'm not saying for good, Alan.
But it doesn't matter. Well, what do you mean a short period? A year?
Yeah, I don't know. So you see, we are...
Well, you've got to know, Joe. I'm sorry, you can't... An idea that you just think, oh, let's have an idea. It has to be thought through.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
Let me say that. We are losing a lot of money there. I mean...
we are, yes.
Spending a lot of money there.
Yeah.
And most importantly, we're losing our soldiers there.
We are.
People there. And we are not getting the support of the people there, which is very important. Now, if we want, and we have been there, how many years we've been there? 5 years, 6 years in Afghanistan, and it's getting worse rather than better. So if we put a timetable, I'm not an expert.
Let me just ask you a question, because it might speed us up a bit.
Yes,
Simple question. Sure. What did the farmers grow before the massive expansion in the drugs industry? What did they grow?
Well, in that area, I'm coming from Iran. So in that area, they usually grow grain, the rice.
Right. So they don't. Poppies aren't the only crop that can be grown.
No,
right now, Joe. Right now, you won't believe this, but it is a fact. Right now, some farmers in Afghanistan are actually ripping up their poppy crop and planting wheat, because, believe it or not, on the open market at the moment, wheat is more expensive than the poppy harvest.
Yeah, I know.
So what we've got to do, all you've got to do is to find them something else to grow that they can sell, because if you simply buy from them the poppies, that is what they will grow, because farmers grow stuff to sell. Now, if you can find a way of breaking that equation, I would love to hear it. But for the moment...
I hope that I'm wrong, and I hope you're right, and the policies are right. But I know that at the moment, I mean, over 5-6 million people, and they say the official result in Iran, but it is 10 times, maybe 5 times that of people are addicts because of the amount of poppies and opium in the market in Iran. And they also coming, I heard that it's 50% of the heroin in the UK's market are coming from Afghanistan as well. So it's a high rate of addiction and a lot of drugs are in the market. So I'm just a little bit worried. I've passed it, so I'm not going to be an addict. But I'm worried about my kids. I'm worried about my friends' kids, and the whole society. I don't know. It came up to my mind, and I saw, let's talk about it. Maybe there is something good coming out of it. But to be honest, I don't think by running the puppies, I know what you're saying is very logical and reasonable, and what the policy is sounds very logical. But I do not think that while we cannot help the people of Afghanistan to look after themselves properly, we expect them to support us and not to house and support the Taliban. They need money. If you can give them the money and look after them, or help them to look after themselves, then they would kick the Taliban out. That's exactly what happened in Iraq when
Joe,
the Sunnis kicked.
Good on you, mate. Thank you very much indeed. 0161228 2255. Elaine in Alcrington says, I don't care about tennis, Allens, but let's hope Murray gets hammered in double quick time so that Crime and Punishment can start tonight at the right time. I hope your Sky Plus worked on Monday, because it's a very good drama up to now. Well, I've no idea whether it worked or not. I've not checked. And I didn't watch last night's because I haven't had time yet. I've been busy. A lot of things to do other than watch the telly, you know.
BBC Radio
I've got a life, me, nearly.
Business leaders have given a mixed reaction to Greater Manchester's congestion charge proposals when they met some of the senior figures who'd like to introduce the scheme to pay for public transport improvements. Israeli police have shot dead a man who ploughed a bulldozer into a bus in West Jerusalem, killing 2 people. And the chief executive of Marks & Spencer, Sir Stuart Rose, has warned of stormy times ahead for the UK economy as his firm announced a surprise profits warning. Manchester's weather, you'll get showers this afternoon and a top temperature of 21 Celsius. I'm Mark Edwardson.
BBC Radio Manchester 2020 traffic.
Well, once again, all seems fairly quiet out on the main routes in and around the area. If you're travelling along the A6 London Road, don't forget, of course, we still have sewer works underway in the centre of Manchester between Ducey Street and Whitworth Street. There's a signed diversion in operation, but don't forget, of course, it is one of the main routes in and out of the city centre, used by a number of bus services. So if you are using public transport, your journey may well be delayed slightly. Taking a quick look now to Didsbury and Didsbury Road around Melton Road. Again, we still have these temporary traffic lights in operation whilst the roadworks continue. And if you're heading through Sale, Carrington Lane around Manor Avenue, slightly delayed where those gas maintenance works are going on around the temporary traffic lights. The gas maintenance renewal work takes place now until later on this year. If you can update me further, call in on 0161 244 4951. I'm Carla Banks.
BBC Radio Manchester Sports with Steve Wyatt.
Hello, good afternoon to you. Lancashire's bowlers did their bit this morning, but rain has halted their pursuit of victory at champions Sussex. Lancashire are chasing a modest 107 to win after polishing off those final 4 Sussex wickets earlier. Well, the very latest, and hopefully with news of a resumption from our cricket reporter Chris Malaban.
After 3 days of unbroken sunshine on the south coast, suddenly the rain comes, just when Lancashire are on the cusp of victory. With a target of just 107 runs to chase, Stuart Law's side have been frustrated by rain. Only 3 balls possible of the final innings of the match before umpires Sharp and Robinson took the players from the field. Earlier, Glenn Chappell had returned 6 for 58 as Sussex were bowled out for 245 in their second innings. 2 wickets each for Chappell and Mahmood this morning, including the key one of Goodwin for 80. So Lancashire still desperate to get back out there. I am pleased to report the covers are coming off. Lancashire chasing 107 to win are 0 without loss.
Well, Chris will keep us up to date throughout the day of whether Lancashire can close down that victory target. A decision by the International Cricket Council on Zimbabwe's future looks likely to be postponed for 24 hours. Their board is meeting in Dubai with the vote on Zimbabwe top of the agenda. The result will have big implications for the England and Wales Cricket Board with next year's World 2020 in England. To football, and England have dropped 6 places to 15th in the latest FIFA World Rankings. That's only 1 place ahead of Scotland. Euro 2008 winners Spain have replaced Argentina at the top of the rankings. Manchester United assistant manager Carlos Queiroz is reported to have been offered the job of Portugal coach. However, Alex Ferguson is desperate not to lose his right-hand man. Liverpool have made another bid for Gareth Barry. The latest attempt to prize the England midfielder from Aston Villa is believed to be £15 million plus further incentives. Altrincham will begin their Blue Square Premier campaign with a trip to Woking on Saturday, August the 9th. Northwich's season starts at home to Cambridge. Now, the men's defending champion, Roger Federer, believes Andy Murray is capable of causing an upset in today's quarter-final against Rafael Nadal at Wimbledon. Murray meets the world number 2, and Federer says the Scot has got a chance.
Grass is Andy Murray's best surface, so I really think Andy's a great player. He actually beat me this year, and he's beaten me more than I've beaten him. He was injured last year, which was very unfortunate, so I think even the more so people maybe underestimated him going into Wimbledon here. But he's definitely got a shot at Rafa, no doubt.
Federer is first up on centre court against Mario Ancic. Then it's that Murray-Nadal match.
Mornings sound better with Eamon O'Neill and Diane Oxbury.
Eamon and Diane.
And if you're having a Christmas party or a birthday party with your kids, what might you have?
Cheese and pineapple on a stick. Is that not popular these days?
Not in these days. You can stab yourself with the sticks in your mouth. You're allowed to have ice in your drinks as long as it's fresh ice, none of that frozen stuff.
Eamon and Diane and you.
Do you have someone come round to your house, Graham, or do you wheelie bit?
They do it in the area, but I don't have it done.
Where's my life gone?
And here you are talking about it on the radio instead of hiding it as the shame should.
The station with Eamon and Diane for breakfast.
I don't mind that.
Back tomorrow morning from 6 at BBC Radio Manchester.
A very good day to you. How are you? All right? Belting. 0161 228 2255. David's just emailed me to confirm what I said when talking to Joe. When I say confirm, I mean confirm in terms of he read the same news item. In answer to Joe, there was a news item last week which stated that because of food shortages and resultant high prices, some Afghan farmers were grubbing up the poppies and growing wheat. David in Crumpsall, thank you very much indeed. I knew I'd read that. I sometimes think, have I made this up? Have I somehow made it up without realising I was making it up? David in Rochdale, hiya.
Hiya, pal.
What can we do for you?
I booked my wedding cars a few months ago.
Yeah.
And the company has gone into liquidation.
Right.
Now, I booked on my visa, and I've heard you say before many times that obviously you should be insured through your visa, which is obviously why I did it through that.
Yeah.
All it was just to find out what I'm supposed to write in the letter to visa to say.
Okay. First of all, how much did you pay on your visa?
600.
All right. Well, you get in touch with the visa people and you tell them that the company has gone into liquidation and are unable to fulfil their obligations, and you want your money back off them.
Right.
And you quote Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act.
75.
Yeah, I think it is that, but it doesn't matter. Just say, under the terms of the consumer credit legislation, you are mutually and severally liable. I therefore want a refund from you.
Will they need proof of that they've gone into liquidation before I get into
Well, they might ask you to establish that, and that won't be as easy as it sounds.
Because I know it's not been appointed yet, you see, the actual administrator's not been appointed.
The receiver's not been appointed.
Yeah.
That's fine. If they're in any doubt, well, if I remember correctly, a number of them have gone bust. Has there been any newspaper story or anything like that?
There has, yeah. Well, front page, Evening News.
Of your particular company?
Yep.
OK. Then simply photocopy the front page of the Evening News and send it with them.
Yeah.
Send it with it. Just
when I actually phoned the credit card that I've got through the bank, they said that, oh, no, you're not guaranteed to get it.
Yeah, they do say that. It's called a banker's lie. That's what they do. That's why they stay in business. They're vile and despicable reptiles, often. But simply write and say, I paid for it with my... I mean, presumably it's a credit card.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I paid for it with my credit card. The company's gone into liquidation. I claimed the credit card protection, the Consumer Credit Act, and under the aegis of that act, you are jointly and severally liable. I'd like my 600 quid back off you.
Right.
Okay.
Yep, thanks very much.
Good luck with it.
Cheers for that.
0161 228 2255. If you've something to say, feel free. It's dead easy. Just pick up your phone and have a go. You can talk about anything. I'm going to get to Tony in Middleton, but there's a story on the front page of the Manchester Evening News, and I know how much we all enjoy stories about parking, but there's a lady who's looking very grumpy, and I don't blame her in one respect, but it does serve her right. Clamped for parking on her own path. The lady left her car on the drive at home when she couldn't afford repairs, but it stuck out a bit too much, and the Evening News happily send us a photograph as well, provide us with a photograph. It didn't stick out a bit too much, it stuck out all the way across the pavement. In other words, anybody wanting to pass this vehicle would have to step out into the road. She totally obstructed the pavement. Now, her argument is, I'm saving up to get the repairs done, the car broke down, I can't get it fully into the house. Well, I'm sure she could get a couple of ugly blokes to shove it up the drive, and frankly, if it doesn't fit in the drive, then it shouldn't be there anyway. I'm sorry, missus, and you might want to ring in and have a wine, and you're more than welcome to, but frankly, you blocked the footpath. You think you've got good reasons. You haven't. You blocked the footpath completely. Somebody walking past your home would have to step off the footpath into the road. Cost you 200 quid. Frankly, it's not enough. Tony in Middleton, hiya.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
Not bad. What have you got?
Well, it's an update, actually. I've noticed on your show that you help people as much as you can, but it's nice sometimes if people get back to you to let you know of the outcome of a situation, which is what I'm doing today.
Oh, all right.
We spoke roughly about 3 months back, to refresh your memory. I know you spoke to lots of people since then, but I had a problem with a condensing boiler that had been installed under this government partnership thing for saving energy.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
That caused quite a bit of controversy at the time, if I remember rightly, with people phoning in and expressing views. However, I pursued the case and obviously dropped the name that it had been on your show on television, and if something didn't move, this was going to be, just the start of a campaign, if you like, that could have involved the press, me MP, etc. And lo and behold, Eager Partnership actually phoned me up, and after pursuing the issue with them, they gave me a cheque sent by the boiler manufacturers, Ideal, which covered the full cost of the repair.
Right, I'm going to stop you now.
Yeah.
And I'm going to stop you and say that you've come on to say thank you and all that.
Yeah.
But you've also listed a whole raft of companies, and it's beginning to smell like you've got your compensation because you said, well, you'll get a bit of free publicity on the wireless. That may not be the case, but I'm not carrying on, just in case it is. 0161 228 2255. You got something to say? Feel free.
Lunchtimes belong to Beswick.
Allan Beswick.
BBC Radio Manchester.
It's a grand day. You know that I don't watch it. I really do have far more important things to do, like watching the grass grow or checking to see if the wind has changed directions. Yeah. But there's a story in the Sun today that I rather enjoyed just because of what it was, but it does tell us something about a difference between the generations. Lee pulls sickie on first day. Now, I cannot vouchsafe nor gainsay the tale, but the Lee in question is called Lee McQueen. And Lee McQueen, it would appear, was the winner of BBC One's Apprentice. And my understanding is that the conceit of the programme is that the winner of the programme, the one who finally is not fired but hired, then gets 12 months' work with Sir Alan Sugar and a wage of £100,000 a year. Now, whether he continues in the job or not is a matter of whatever. But Lee, according to The Sun, who beat 15 other contestants, one presumes, to land the £100,000 a year dream job, well, he failed to turn up on his first day, it would seem. Failed to turn up. Apparently, he was feeling unwell. That's what it says. Lee was really keen to start work, but he felt he wasn't up to it and had to stay at home. He was supposed to start work yesterday, didn't turn in. First day at work, in the terms of the newspaper, threw a sickie. Now, I don't know whether he did or not. I don't know anything about it. But is it me, or is there a difference between the generations of people who throw sickies and not? I think there is. I think the generations after me, if they've got an headache, they don't come in, or else they go home, or if they're feeling a bit unwell, they don't come in. Whereas my generation, we just went to work. All right, you've got an headache. Well, if you've got an headache, take it to work with you. You'll still have it whether you go work or go home. It isn't just that I'm self-employed and therefore if I don't work I don't get paid. I've always done that. Is there a difference? Or is it just me? 0161 228 2255. You got something to say about that? And a considerably more serious story is the story that Fiona Bruce yesterday announced in an interview, and it's now in just about every newspaper this morning and was on the Wires system yesterday. And she's let it be known that when she was younger, I mean, I find the woman terrifying, but there you are. When she was younger, she was sexually assaulted. A chap, a stranger, but a bloke, followed her down the street and clearly was following her. She changed sides of the road and everything. And then he caught up with her, as it were, and he touched her in a sexual manner. I'm not going to go into the details. The articles do. You can read them. But he touched her in a sexual manner. Touched her private parts. Through her clothing, but that's what he did. And she said, I simply froze. I was utterly terrified. She says also she was furious with herself. This happened 20 years ago, but she says she was furious with herself for not fighting back. She says she's done self-defence course just a few years earlier, and she did nothing. She did absolutely nothing. She just froze in utter fear. She said the attack, which took place when she was in her early 20s. My throat closed so tightly I couldn't make a sound. I just couldn't move a muscle. I just stood there. The man then let go and ran off ahead of me. I stood there, unable to move or shout. When he'd gone about 20 yards, he stopped, turned around and stared at me. The broadcaster, who'd taken a self-defence course just a few years earlier, said she regrets not fighting back. She said, he looked like a real wimp. I remembered my training and thought this would be the time to use it, but I just couldn't. I was too frightened, even of this pathetic character. But the incident taught her how utterly paralysing fear can be. It's a hell of a story, and I'm not about to use that absolutely ghastly tripe that people come out with and say, isn't it brave of her to tell us all? I don't think it is brave of her to tell us all. That's just how it is. Sometimes you say things and sometimes you don't. And it's neither brave to tell nor brave to not tell. It's just the difference between people and time. But let's go back. Let's go back. Let's just think, hang on a minute. What is it like to know that you could have done something and didn't? To know that you have the wherewithal. I mean, she's a big girl. I don't mean she's tubby, which is the euphemism. I mean, she's big, she's tall. She's a bit tall. And I imagine strong. And we just heard in the article, she says, look, I'd done self-defence. I think, if I had to fight someone, I'd probably pick somebody other than Fiona Bruce. She's got her wits about her. And yet, with all her confidence, with all her presence of mind, with everything, she just froze. Motionless. Couldn't move. With fear. Has that happened to you? In any circumstance, ever? I'd be intrigued.
You had a leaving dance?
Now it's the end of school prom.
Limos, tuxedos, big dresses.
It's big business. Haven and Diane tomorrow from 6.
0161 228 2255. Radio Manchester at bbc.co.uk. And of course the text number 07786 206 951.
95.1 FM, DAB digital radio, and the World Wide Web. This is Manchester. BBC
BBC Radio Manchester.
At 1 o'clock, congestion charging and public transport improvement get a mixed reaction from Greater Manchester's businesses, and 2 dead and 30 injured after a bulldozer is used to ram a bus in Jerusalem.
And play suspended at Wimbledon as Murray awaits Nadal.
Well, this afternoon is generally unsettled. There will be some showers around, and some of those showers could be heavy. It's going to feel cooler than yesterday. Top temperatures 21 Celsius.
And traffic's moving well on the M602 heading in and out of Manchester from Junction 3, the Regent Road roundabout.
Good afternoon, I'm Mark Edwardson. There's been a mixed reaction from businesses to plans for a Greater Manchester congestion charge and public transport improvements. Greater Manchester's Chamber of Commerce met earlier today and heard arguments for and against the proposals. Some there were convinced, others not.
This is a huge gift to this city, really. When you look at that level of investment, all the business it will generate.
It will increase cost to my business, it will increase cost to my employees. The whole concept is flawed.
Very difficult decision, I feel. You can see both sides of the argument, and it's easy to just argue your own business case.
You've been telling us times are getting tighter, and today there are more signs the economy's slowing down, hitting sales and jobs. The house builder Taylor Wimpey has announced it's shedding 900 jobs, and Marks & Spencer's reported a fall in like-for-like sales compared with last year. The company's executive chairman, Sir Stuart Rose, said there was likely to be more bad news.
I don't believe anybody will be immune. I think this is a problem, a UK PLC economic problem, indeed a global problem, and having had the 5 or 6 or 7 years of good times, we're seeing a correction, and customers are feeling the pinch.
A Palestinian man has driven a bulldozer down a busy street in Jerusalem, crushing cars and overturning a bus before he was shot dead by an Israeli policeman. At least 2 other people were killed and 30 injured, 7 of them seriously. A police spokesman, Mickey Rosenfield, likened the scene of the attack at Oxford Street in London.
The terrorist himself drove the tractor down the main street in Jerusalem, Jaffa Street, approximately 500 metres, striking 4 vehicles and 2 buses. This type of incident and the destruction that there is here is quite unbelievable. It's like if you imagine Oxford Street and someone rampaging down Oxford Street, you'll be able to clearly understand how many people were in the area and could have possibly been killed.
The Royal Navy warship that Prince William's serving on's intercepted a speedboat in the Atlantic, seizing cocaine worth £40 million. The frigate, Iron Duke, was on patrol 100 miles from Barbados at the time. Police in London say they've arrested 1,200 people for carrying knives in the last 7 weeks. They stopped almost 27,000 people and searched them using metal detectors and recovered more than 500 weapons. The co-owner of Birmingham City Football Club, David Sullivan's been questioned on suspicion of sexual assault. Essex police are investigating a complaint made by a woman aged 25. Mr. Sullivan, who's 59, denies the allegation and has been released on police bail. Now imagine this, a 1,000-mile run, a 400-mile cycle ride and finally 21 miles of swimming. Well, that's what a group of firearms officers from Greater Manchester have to look forward to. They're setting off on foot from John O'Groats, heading to Land's End. There they'll mount bicycles and head for Dover. Then it's a swim across the English Channel. And it's all in the name of a Stockport-based charity called Wish Upon a Star. Inspector Andy Holmes is part of the team.
We've been building up for this for nearly 12 months now, so we're all pretty fit and ready to go. And it is for a good cause. These sort of eating high protein, high carb diets, just building ourselves up a little bit. I might just have a can of Coke at the end.
And the comedy actor Sacha Baron Cohen, better known as Borat or Ali G, has been signed to play Sherlock Holmes in a new Hollywood film. The American actor Will Ferrell will play the sleuth's sidekick, Dr. Watson.
BBC Radio Manchester Sports with Will Perry.
Andy Murray is calling on the centre court crowd to again help him to victory as he prepares for the biggest match of his career. Play's been suspended at Wimbledon due to the rain, but at some point today the Scot takes on second seed Rafael Nadal. That's in the quarter-finals. First up, it's Roger Federer against Mario Andcic. Well, it's the 4th and final day of Lancashire's county championship match with Sussex. The rain's been disrupting the day's play this afternoon, but we're back out at Hove. Not the best of news, Chris Malaband.
I'm afraid not. No, Lou Vincent is gone for Lancashire. 14 for 1, the Red Rose County, with Mal Loy on 2 and Paul Horton on 7. But Vincent picked up by Jason Lurie for 5, caught behind by Matt Pryor. Lancashire chasing 107 to win here at Hove are 14 for 1.
Well, England have dropped 6 places to 15th in the latest FIFA World Rankings, only 1 place ahead of Scotland. Northern Ireland are 33rd and Wales 54th. Euro 2008 winners Spain have replaced Argentina at the top. Former Manchester United striker Dwight York has signed a new deal at Sunderland. York will stay at the Stadium of Light for another season. And Altrincham will begin their Blue Square Premier campaign with a trip to Woking on Saturday, August the 9th. Northwich's season starts at home to Cambridge.
BBC Radio Manchester satellite weather with Heather Stott.
Well, this morning there is going to be a lot more cloud around than there was this morning, and there are going to be some showers as well. Those showers on and off during the course of the afternoon. There's the risk of the odd locally heavy shower at times, and it feels fresher than yesterday, with top temperatures getting to 21 Celsius.
Lunchtimes belong to Beswick.
Allan Beswick.
BBC Radio Manchester.
0161 228 2255. Radio Manchester at bbc.co.uk. And you can text 07786 206 951. And of course, as we say frequently, and it's almost true, you can. Well, that's as close as we get. We are the BBC when all's said and done. You can talk about anything. You pick the subject and we'll talk about it. We don't mind at all. And Peter says, if Andy Murray wins, he'll be British. If he loses, he'll be Scottish. Yeah, if he doesn't turn up, we'll all be interested. Alan in Wigan, hi.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, you.
A little bit of a problem. I don't know whether you can help me or not, but...
Neither do I.
Basically, a couple of weeks ago, I rang a local estate agent company, yeah?
Okay.
Not to mention any names,
Okay,
but
yeah.
I rang
Estate agent, yeah.
an estate agent. I asked the price of a property that has recently come up for sale.
Yeah.
She said, yeah, it's X amount of pounds, it's only just come up, and that's fine. Would you like me to send you details about it? I said, no, that's okay, that's fine, and put the phone down, that was it. The same day I received an email with an attachment showing me the property and all the details and the price and everything. Now, first of all, how does it do that, and is it legal?
Let me deal with the illegal bit first. I have to rack my brains for that. I can't think of a reason that it's illegal.
Right.
So that's that. Unless they obtain the address via an illegal process. Did they send it to your personal email?
Yes.
Okay. Imagine if it was me.
Yeah.
Or somebody working for a large organisation.
Yeah.
They could probably get your email address fairly easily just by asking a colleague or what have you. Now, how did they get it? How did they get your phone number? Well...
Yeah, the phone number's quite easy. Obviously, it comes up on the screen.
It does if you don't withhold it. Right, so they got the number.
Right.
Now, let us say you were working for the local authority, and you rang and you said, my name's Allan Beswick, I'm working for the local authority. Well, you don't have to tell them. I want to ask about house number 21. And they say it's 180,000. You say, thanks very much. Do you want detail? And it's all right. Okay. So then they ring the number back. And when it rings, somebody says, hello, Wigan Council. So they know you work at Wigan Council. They've got your name. They send you an email, Allan Beswick at, wigan.gov.uk or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that's easy. But if it's your personal one, I haven't the faintest idea. I haven't the faintest idea. Unless your computer is organised to... And I believe this is possible. Your computer is organised for texts to be put onto your computer rather than your phone. That's the only thing I can come up with. Otherwise, I've not a clue.
Right. Anyway, I could find out how they did it.
Someone's going to ring in and tell me before 2 o'clock of that. I am convinced.
Really?
Because there's loads of anoraks out there. If it is a process that is fairly common, then people will know it. I don't know it, but I'm not particularly well endowed with what we might call a binary brain. Computers are just machines to me. I have no idea what goes on inside them, or indeed what they can do. My wife tells me that I haven't got a computer. I've got, actually, the world's most expensive word processor. It's just a typewriter with a winder when she's in a really bad mood. Or if we've got people to dinner, you haven't got a computer, you've got a typewriter with a winder. And I try to, say this is preposterous, but unfortunately...
It doesn't work, though, does it?
Well, there's no evidence. She's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I only said that because I'm guaranteed that she's not listening at the moment, because I've never uttered those words to her face, obviously. She's right. Anyway, the reality is I don't know, but I bet somebody does. So let's get the story again. Did they have your full name?
No.
They just
I didn't give them any name at all whatsoever.
So all they had legitimately, and we're not accusing them of a crime, but all they had legitimately was your phone number.
My telephone number, yes.
That's it?
Yes, nothing else.
And is it a private number or a business number?
Private number.
A private number?
Yeah.
But you got an email?
I received an email, which I can send to you if you like.
No, you're all right. Have you, I don't mean this in any offensive sense, but have you been cruising the net for properties?
No.
How did you find out that property was available?
It's more or less opposite to where I live.
Oh, right, so it's right, so it's a neighbour's property. You didn't see an advertisement, or you didn't spot it on the net or whatever?
No.
Good Lord.
Just a sign went up. I was curious as to the price, so I just rang. I asked the price, gave them no details at all whatsoever. They asked me if they wanted me to, or they wanted to send me anything. I said, no, that's okay, that's fine. I just wanted to know how much. And that was it. End of conversation. No names, nothing, no details. And the same day, I put my computer on, checked my emails, and there's one there from this company. I looked at it, and it has the attachment and everything concerning that property.
But more importantly,
how did they get it?
How did they get it? Yeah. All right. Well, why to sell houses is the answer. Why? How is beyond me. But the why is dead easy. I've no idea, Alan. I am intrigued. I am intrigued because I've been of the view until now that email addresses were fairly difficult to get hold of.
Yes, I thought that.
All right, mate. Good on you. We shall see.
One other quick point, Alan.
Oh, go on.
Your conversation yesterday was mainly on recording things, and the loads of people rang in with loads of technical advice on how to do it. I've got the easiest way possible. I ring my son and ask him to tape it for me.
Yeah, that's the way forward. That is the way forward. Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the way forward until, of course, your son changes systems and then you're goosed. All right, mate.
It works for me.
Yeah, but if he goes to Sky Plus, you're knackered, because I don't think you can pass that on to somebody else. He'll just... will you record that? Oh, yeah, you have a laugh as well. Ta-ra now.
Thank you very much indeed, Alan.
Have a good one. I hope we do as well. Alan wants to know how a local company got his email address when all they had was his telephone number. They didn't even have his name. They just had his telephone number. He made an inquiry of them. He didn't withhold his telephone number, so they got his telephone number. He didn't tell them his name. He made an inquiry, and within a couple of hours, he got an email on his private email address. How did they do that? Does anyone know? 0161 228 2255. And seeing as how he mentioned recording things, Joel in Middleton says, "I'll think you'll find that your Sky Plus did not work with criminal justice on Monday. If you had the V Plus system like us, you would have access to a BBC iPlayer and watch this programme anytime you like. Also, please stop giving free publicity to Murdoch." That's fair enough, but it's the name of the system. There's nothing I can do. Alan, I agree with Carl in Wigan. Murray has a sour outlook on his face. This could be down to his mother, who fed him nothing but haggis as a child. Come on, Nadal! Showing his muscles, he looked more like olive oil than Popeye. That's Brian in Lee. Angela in Glossop. Hello, Angela.
Hello.
What can we do for you, Angela?
It was with regard to being attacked.
Yes.
I was attacked almost 30 years ago now.
Good Lord.
I was coming back on the all-night bus into Gorton. The bus driver left me at the bottom of the road, and at the very top of the road where I lived was Smithfield Market. And so it was about 2:30, 3 in the morning. I had my shoes in my hand because my feet were burning from dancing. And across the pub car park at the very bottom of the road, I heard this lad running, and I thought, in my mind, he was running because he was going up to the market to start work. So I moved to the side where there's no people, well, there was an old people's home, to let him pass, but he didn't pass. He tried to push me and put his hand up my skirt, and my reaction was, straight away, I whacked him in the face with my shoes, and luckily for me, there were stilettos. I don't know what I'd done to his face, but I just screamed and screamed and screamed and sat on this wall. He ran back the way he came. And I was just stunned. I couldn't believe nobody heard me. I had about another 100 yards to walk before I got home, and I never told my mother because I knew she wouldn't let me out again. But ever since then, I've always been frightened. People, to surprise me. Boo. I really jump.
Wow.
But I never told anybody. Really, I should have had it reported. But I was young, naive, and I just thought if I told my mother, that would be it. I wouldn't be let out again. But it shook me up. Really, really shook me up.
I suppose if you... 30 years ago, if you told anybody... There's almost a chance that they'd say, well, you shouldn't have been out that late.
I know, yeah.
It was a different world, wasn't it?
Oh, God, yeah.
Even the police, who are now actually, to be fair to them, pretty good at dealing with such attacks or claims of such attacks.
Yeah.
There wouldn't have been the same response you'd get.
No. I mean, I know at school I got the strap once for being late, and I held these tears back till I got home, thinking I'd get some sympathy off my mother. And I said, I got the strap today. Crying my eyes out. She said, well, serves you right. Shouldn't have been late.
Well, my mum used to tell a story of it. She must have been about 9 or 10 years of age. And she can't swim, never could swim
My
all her
mother
life.
couldn't.
No, but she was terrified of water. And she saw a kid drowning in some comparatively deep water, deep enough to wade rather than walk. And she went in and rescued this younger kid, got home and got leathered for getting her clothes wet.
That reminds me of...
It didn't turn her into a mother that listened before she hit, I'd just like to tell you.
No, my mother wouldn't either. You didn't look sideways at my mother. What she said was law, and that was it. But we had a brook at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
And I'm one of 5. One of my sisters was a real tomboy, and she swung over this brook on a rope, over the tree. I wouldn't leave the ground at all. I just stood and watched. My other sister had slipped in some mud and was washing her socks out in the brook, terrified of going home because my mother had gone mad for getting her socks dirty. But this brook, it must have been rat infested.
Yes, I know,
but she won't go home with muddy socks.
But at least the water was cleanish.
Yeah.
Dear me. Aren't we strange?
I know.
But, well, thank you for that tale. It is interesting, isn't it? I mean, you still remember it.
Yeah.
It's never going anywhere, that story,
no.
is it?
No.
Is it? I mean, would you... As we say, it would have been dealt with differently now, but, I mean, you, I suppose, because it ended the attack, as it were, did the right thing.
I've often wondered about how I disfigured his face.
Yeah, how is he? How is he? There's probably some bloke somewhere now about 50 years of age.
Yeah, with a nice big scar.
He's got these 2 indentations in his face.
There were steel caps as well.
Well, you're still not whipping up any sympathy. I don't know why that is, Angela. Why do you think? Well, thank you for the tale.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much
All
indeed.
right, then.
Cheers.
Bye now.
When I was 5 years old, I was playing truant from school, and I fell headfirst off a coal lorry, and I was taken to Pendlebury Children's Hospital where they saved my life.
My girlfriend's in critical condition now, and there's constantly a nurse sat at the end of the bed.
NHS saved my life every day because I'm a diabetic. Simple as that.
Have you got a story to tell?
Operation NHS.
Operation NHS. Your part
60 years
of the National Health Service.
At BBC Radio Manchester.
Tony's emailed, and to be honest, Tony, I think you've got a rather cruel streak in you. I'll explain. He sends this. He says, Alan, I don't usually watch UK dramas. Why? Well, because they're usually crap. However, the BBC's Criminal Justice is pretty damn good. As you've mentioned many times, the US do it so much better. For example, The Wire, The Shield, Boston Legal, all the CSIs, 30 Rock, a brilliant comedy. OK. Alan, Miss Criminal Justice at your peril. Yes, it's that good. So where's the cruel streak? Well, this email didn't come in until I'd read out the text earlier that suggests I may not have most of the first edition of Criminal Justice because I recorded it on Sky Plus, and that lanky Scottish cretin that's playing tennis this afternoon managed to knacker it by taking ages to play his game on Monday. Not that I am in any way biased. Gary in Manchester, like most jocks, oh dear, like most jocks, Murray is your typical horrible, arrogant, anti-English jock. I hope he wins nout. Well, you've had your wish so far. Listen, Colin in Bolton, if somebody has a job that they really don't enjoy, can you blame them for taking every opportunity not to go into work if they can pull a sickie and get away with it? Not everybody has a good job like yours. Well, that is true, Colin. Not everybody does have a good job like mine. But I haven't always had a good job like mine. I have had some crap jobs in my time. I've had some jobs that I really didn't like. And, OK, I immediately started the process of replacing them with a different job. But for all the time I was paid to go to work, I went to work. And if I had an headache, I took it with me.
BBC Radio Manchester. Headline News.
Business leaders have given a mixed reaction to Greater Manchester's congestion charge proposals when they met some of the senior figures who'd like to introduce the scheme to pay for public transport improvements. Israeli police have shot dead a man who plowed a bulldozer into a bus in West Jerusalem, killing 2 people and injuring 30 more. And the chief executive of Marks & Spencer, Sir Stuart Rose, has warned of stormy times ahead for the UK economy as his firm announced a surprise profits warning. Manchester's weather, you'll get showers this afternoon, temperatures of around about 21 Celsius. I'm Mark Edmondson.
BBC Radio Manchester, 2020 traffic.
Taking a quick look firstly to Milne Road, Chapelgate northbound between Whitworth Street and Dell Street closed off while sewer works continue with a diversion in operation via Smith Hill, Hurtsted Road and Kiln Lane. In Bradshaw, Church Street between Leagate and King Street's closed, and that's causing slight delays on the diversion, which is signed locally, as well as gas maintenance work continues this hour. And aside from that, generally the motorways all looking fairly clear. If of course you know different, call in and update us if you can on 0161 244 4951. I'm Cara Banks.
2020 traffic means you get an update every 20 minutes through the day.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Stuart from Hadfield called in to say you can still record the programme from Sky Plus, just attach a lead from the output socket to a traditional DVD or video recorder and then press play. I don't know why, but that's giving me an headache. Why doesn't the guy from Wigan just phone the estate agent and ask how they got his email address? It's that simple, says Stu. In other than you have no sense of drama. But that's cheating. We don't want to phone up and ask him, and they tell him, and then it's all over. No, we don't want that. That's not proper. Jeff, in London. Hiya, Jeff.
Hiya, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well.
Pleasure to talk to you. I used to listen to you a while back on a local Preston radio station.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I know.
That was 20 years about you, Al.
That's right.
Go on and get on with it.
What it's about is I've got a bit of a dispute with my local garage regarding my car's service. I would have thought that the garage would have to notify you when there was a little bit more work needed than the basic full service. What's happened is they've gone ahead and done a lot more extra work on the car without notifying me, and obviously it's quite an expensive bill. And I want to know if there's any grounds I have to contest payment, or whether I'm just going to have to swallow it and pay it.
No, you're not going to have to swallow it. Pay for the work. Pay for the work you commissioned, but be absolutely certain of the ground on which you stand. In other words, any airy-fairy notion with the garage, can you sort my car out for me?
Yeah.
That would allow them to do any work that was deemed reasonable.
Right.
Will you change the woofle-dookle on this? And they change the woofle-dookle, but they also put on a new baringa-bonga and a waggly-wiggly-waggly.
Yeah, well,
that's the problem.
This is what it is, you see. They claim that I had a puncture, that they've replaced the tyre, and I was like, well, where was the puncture? I mean, I drove
Where's the
thing
tyre?
in. Yeah.
Where's the tyre?
Yeah.
If they replace parts, they ought to be able to prove it was necessary. So if they say they've replaced the tyre, you say, fine, where's the old one?
Yeah.
And if they say can't find it, and you say, well, in that case, I'm not paying you.
They have the car, though, you see.
Well, if they refuse to release the car, then tell them that you will hire a car and you will sue them for the cost of it.
Good.
All right.
Good.
So
Thank you
what
very
you say,
much.
but I'd do everything. Go and have a conversation with them and say, I demand that you release my vehicle. I will pay for the work that I commissioned. I'm not paying you for the new tyre.
This is the grey area, I suppose, though, isn't it?
Because what you say to them is, well, the grey area.
I mean, when they're going to go, well, that is what your car required.
No. Listen to what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
The law is clear. You only have to pay for what you ordered.
Yeah.
The argument will be about the facts. Now, what did you commission them to do?
A full service.
A full service.
Yeah.
You asked them to service the car.
Yeah.
Now, servicing the car doesn't mean putting new tyres on it. Servicing the car means servicing the car. They could phone you up and say, look, you've got a puncture in one of your tyres. Well, you'd say, I didn't have one when I drove it in.
Yeah.
The tyre wasn't down when I drove it in. It had 4 tyres. They were full of air. Where's the puncture come from?
Yeah.
So that's the first thing you got to say. How did it get a puncture? I drove it here. It didn't have one when I brought it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it was a slow puncture. Oh, really? How convenient.
Yeah.
So what I'd like to know is, why did you do that? Because it needed doing? Well, it could do with a respray. You've not charged me £2,000 for that, have you?
Yeah.
So you only do the work you're paid to do. You're commissioned to do. You do some other work, thank you very much. That was kind of it. It's a lovely donation to the family coffers. You've been very grateful. But the argument will end up being about fact. And the first thing you say is, where's the old tyre?
Yeah.
With the garage I used to use, and indeed still use, because I now have comparatively new cars, I rarely have a problem, and they're done under guarantee, so they don't bother. But when I get to the end of the guarantee, if I have a job done, if they put a new alternator on, the old one's in the footwell when I get back.
Yeah.
When I went the garage, it's just a little garage that I use to do a little tyre repairer. And I leave my car with him and say, that tyre's got a puncture in it, do what's necessary. And when I go back, he either says, that's a tenner, we've done a puncture, or he says, we've replaced the tyre. There's the old one.
Does he have a right to hold on to my car, though, obviously, before I go and hire one?
Technically, no.
Great.
Because he's only allowed, he can withhold, he can say you're not having your car back because you've not paid your bill. But you'll say, well, if the bill was £20,000, do you think I'd pay it? I'm going to pay you for the work I asked you to do. I will pay you for the service.
Yeah.
That's the end of it. If you want any more, sue me for it.
Great.
But my defence will be, I didn't ask you to do those jobs and you never at any point contacted me. Is the garage a member of any of these toothless organisations?
Yeah, it appears to be...
VBRA and all that lot?
Yeah.
Okay, well, get in touch with them.
Get in touch with them as well,
and
yeah.
say, what is the policy? Because they have a policy that they lay down for their garages. They won't help you to fight him, but they'll tell you the policy. And if the policy is that they must contact you before they do extra work, then he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Is it registered with the motoring organisations?
Yeah.
Well, get in touch with the motoring organisations. Are you a member of a motoring organisation?
Yes, I am, yeah.
Then get them to phone them up and say, oi, we're the lawyers acting on behalf of
Great.
whoever, and they will sort it. All right?
Thank you very much, Alan.
But you don't have to pay for work that you didn't commission.
Great.
Particularly when it's a puncture that you didn't have when you got there.
Let me at them.
Have fun.
Thank you.
I don't know what you're doing in London, whatever it is, it's not worth it. Come on. Terry in Tilsley. Alan, the best one with young people today, regular work, regarding work. I do wish people wouldn't send abbreviations on text. I can't cope. The best one with young people today regarding work is that they always have their birthday off. Why? I don't know. Why do they have their birthday off, and why aren't they sacked when they come back to work? You were off yesterday. Why? It was my birthday. Oh, fine. Well, your next one, you can either take work off somebody else, or you can take it off the dole because you don't work here anymore. Go away. Not enough people are sacked, you know. That's the trouble. It's got too hard to sack them. They deserve it. I don't know how the estate agent got that man's email address, but companies buy the entire telephone directory on disk and just need to enter the caller's number to get the name and address. So there's a start. Yeah, getting the name and address getting the name and address of the person who pays the phone bill or is the registered phone personage, the registered customer, is easy. We know that bit. But it's the email address. You see, telling me how they got the phone number doesn't help me. We're trying to find out how they got his email address. Because I don't think there's a register of them. I don't think there's a register of mobile phone numbers either. Is there? Does anyone know of that? I know journalists find all sorts of people's numbers, but I don't know how they do it, and I'm not really a journalist, so it doesn't, you know, I mean, we have journalists here, I'm sure they could do it, but picking locks and breaking into buildings at night, you know, all that stuff, I can't do that. Nah, I just sit here and waffle for a couple of hours a day. Yeah. Oh, 116 with help from you. 016, most of the work's done by somebody else. 0161 228 2255. Yesterday you threatened a visit to Northwich. Whilst you're here, you could pop into the Harlequin Theatre. It's one of those little ones that you like. You could book it for an audience with Allan Beswick venue. I wouldn't have to travel too far then. I could even walk. So says Clive. In Northwich, inevitably. Oh, by the way, did you watch The Best Model with No Arms and Legs last night? No, I didn't watch it even with my eyes. Thank you for that. The Harlequin I've never heard of it. And it's too far. I don't mean it's too far to go, but we'd never sell tickets, would we? No one's heard of me in Northwich apart from you. And even if they have, they wouldn't come. They're not daft. Alan, as an apprentice mechanic in the 60s, if I ever dreamed of having a sickie, I'd have to convince me mother, not the doctor. That's it, you see. That's it. It's your parents, isn't it? It's the going to school when you're unwell. Ma'am, I don't feel well. Don't tell me, tell the teacher. What do you mean, tell the teacher? Because you're still going to school. But I'm not well. And you don't get an answer then, because my mum used to work on this basis. She would have her say, and after that, she didn't really need to bother listening because all the decisions had been made. and just piling on the whining wasn't really going to change anything. Yes, I've made my decision. It isn't going to change. If you want to keep talking, that's fine, you keep talking, but do bear in mind that nobody's listening. But if you talk for long enough, you will irritate me enough that you'll get a slap. It does seem to work. Yes. And that's where we're going wrong, isn't it? I'm not suggesting the slapping is the discipline, but we are missing out on discipline somewhere along the line. I find that women employed by local authorities and government bodies have themselves a rota for being sick, pregnant, time a month, sabbatical, part-time, often job sharing. Quite often they can't do their job properly through lack of continuity or familiarity with current jobs. It's a ruddy nightmare for a member of the public to keep track of a specific task that they're supposedly handling. I recently published a book and spent a day contacting the appointed bookseller for each company. Out of 12 women and one man, only the man was actually in work. Ooh. Andy in Runcorn. Well, no, I'm just telling you. Saying nothing. Oh, Gordon Brown has sent a message of congratulations to the people of New Mills because they've got a hydroelectric plant, which I think isn't something that grows in the back garden. An hydroelectric plant is a little dam and a wheel for the water to run down over. Yeah, they've got and he sent him a note. He said, well done them. That's belting, isn't it? Well, what's the point of living in the hills if you can't use it to your advantage? That's what I say. Well, don't you? No, it's good. I like that. Re-sickness. I used to get up, this is Stuart, I used to get up and tell my mum that I didn't feel well, I didn't want to go to school. She invariably said that if I don't feel well, to go back to bed and she'll call the doctor. When I said that I wasn't that ill, she said, get your uniform on and go to school. Yeah, I know that feeling. You see, I don't think that happens anymore. I don't. Alan, did they send this email to his telephone number and the computer picked it up? That's Darren in Warrington. Yeah, this is regarding Alan's email. But if you send... Oh, I don't know. I don't know is the answer. I don't know. I don't know how it works. Anyway, there it is. Does that happen? If I sent... Because I've got the internet at home and an email address at home. And if I sent myself an email now... No. Can you send an email to a telephone number? You can send a text. I don't know. He's like, yeah, I'm just looking at Matt Trewern, who's producing today. He's got his head in his hands. He's not got a clue either. He's a fat lorry use. He's supposed to be there to help. I don't know. You can't send an email to a telephone number, can you? Unless it's one of them Blackberries. Are we allowed to say Blackberry? Can we not say mixed race berry or ethnically minority berry or something? I don't know. It's all I had. 0161 228 2255. I want to get to the bottom of this. That's the trouble. Otherwise, well, why would you bother? But I do. I'm fascinated by it now. I mean, in fact, I'm quite concerned. Quite concerned that somebody could get my email number without me doing anything about it. Never mind. 0161 228 2255. If you've something to say, feel free. There's a campaign beginning to emerge, should we say, out of the gloom. Yesterday, there were stories flying about that the Portugal police, the police in Portugal, are going to close the case on the missing kid, Madeleine McCann. And they're going to close the case because, frankly, they haven't got any information or evidence to pursue. So, what's the point of keeping it open? I think the term is that they'll leave it on file, and if any more information comes in, obviously, they will then follow that information diligently, says they. Hopefully with rather more diligence than they began with. But one wonders. Because this thing, isn't there, that they're saying, well, they should clear the McCanns now. They should say, no, we've moved on. They were in the line as suspects, whatever that name was they gave to them, they're suspects, and so we're moving on now. But they can't, can they? They can't say to the McCanns, and therefore you're no longer suspects, because, well, if there's evidence that can clear them, fine, but if not, once they've been made suspects, they stay suspects, surely, until the answer or the question has been answered. Strange. Paul says, surely the obvious answer is to ask the agents how they got a personal email, and if and when they play the data protection card, your listener can quote it back, says Paul. Yeah, you could try that, but I just think asking them is cheating. There are a number of ways, says Paul. The easier one. Assuming the cone fall and arrival of details are connected, is that he has had previous contact with the estate agents and has filed his telephone number and email address with them. They just look him up and send it. Well, that would be easy, and I ruled that out because even he would have thought of that. The next option involves the use of a website, potentially where he saw the property listed. If he registered with that, there's the link. Well, we eliminated that one. I covered that one because he said, no, I never saw it. It's a house across the road. I saw the board go up and rang the number on the board. Never registered with anyone. That's that. The third suggestion involves the phone call and the arrival of details not being related, purely coincidental. That basically involves him pressing a button on the website that triggers the email. It does involve him having registered. Never did that. My thoughts would be the first option, even if it was a couple of years previously when he registered with them. As for the legality, as long as whatever database's information is registered on is recorded with the Data Protection Registrar for the use it is being put to, that is okay. The easy way for him to find out is to phone the estate agent and ask them how they did it. Well, of course, that in the end may well be all he is left with, because the collective mind of Lunchtime Radio Manchester, which effectively is more you than me, obviously. Well, I'm just the ringmaster, so the thousands who are putting their mind to it now have managed to come up with, frankly, bugger all. You've been a complete and utter waste of space. Now, I on me own, without any help from you, came up with them first three. So you get no credit for that, Paul. I'd already done them. But as regards your collective involvement, well, frankly, you should hang your head in shame. You've managed to achieve nothing. On this subject, you've been pretty good on the other stuff, but on this subject, frankly, well, you leave a lot to be desired.
BBC Radio Manchester.
Headline News.
The pros and cons of a congestion charge and major transport improvements for Greater Manchester have been debated by businesses today. You've been telling us times are getting tighter, and today there are more signs the economy is slowing down, hitting sales and jobs. A Palestinian man has driven a bulldozer down a busy street in Jerusalem, crushing cars and overturning a bus before he was shot dead by an Israeli policeman. Manchester's weather, you'll get showers this afternoon, top temperature of 21 Celsius. I'm Michelle Adamson.
BBC Radio Manchester 2020 traffic.
Well, if you're heading along the M6, all seems fairly quiet between junction 17 Sandbach all the way up to junction 21A at the Croft interchange. And no major issues, thankfully, on the M60 Ring Road or the M67 from Hyde through to junction 24 at Denton Island on the westbound carriageway. Taking a quick peek, though, to the Bryn area of Greater Manchester, the A49 Wigan Road around Downall Green Road. Some temporary traffic lights on that junction whilst bridge maintenance work continues near to Bryn Railway Station. May well cause delays during peak times, but for the moment fairly quiet. Don't forget, though, if you can update me further, call the travel line on 0161 244 4951. I'm Carol Banks.
BBC Radio Manchester Sports with Will Perry.
Good afternoon. Well, Andy Murray is calling on the centre court crowd to again help him to victory as he prepares for the biggest match of his career. Play's been suspended at Wimbledon due to the rain, but at some point this afternoon we hope the British number one takes on second seed Rafa Nadal in the quarter-finals, and the men's defending champion Roger Federer believes Murray is capable of causing an upset.
Grass is Andy Murray's best surface, so I really think Andy's a great player. He actually beat me this year, and he's beaten me more than I've beaten him. He was injured last year, which was very unfortunate, so I think even the more so people maybe underestimated him going into Wimbledon here, but he's definitely got a shot at Rafa, no doubt.
Well, Murray is second on centre court after Federer, who plays Mario Ancic in the last eight, of course, when that rain stops. Well, in the cricket, it's the fourth and final day of Lancashire's county championship match with Sussex. Lancs are chasing 107 for victory. They should have been out after lunch, but the Covers have made an appearance. Chris Malaband.
I'm afraid the drizzle has returned to Hove. Yes, 14 for 1 Lancashire at lunch, with Paul Horton on 7 and Mal Loy on 2, needing just a further 93 runs to win. This could be an agonising fight final day for Lancashire. They've got victory in their grasp, at least if the elements allow them to continue. Earlier this morning, Glenn Chappell completed an excellent display, 6 for 58, his final figures, after he picked up 2 wickets and Saj Mahmood picked up 2 more as Sussex were bowled out for 245. Lou Vincent went early, caught by Pryor off Lurie for 5. At lunch, Lancashire 14 for 1. We await the covers to come off.
Cheers, Chris. Well, we'll, of course, keep you up to date with Lancashire's victory chase throughout the afternoon here on BBC Radio Manchester. Some other cricket news for you, and a decision by the International Cricket Council on Zimbabwe's future looks likely to be postponed for 24 hours. Their board is meeting in Dubai with a vote on Zimbabwe top of the agenda. The result will have a big implication on England's Wales and Cricket Board with next year's World 2020 in England. Manchester City is set to officially confirm Brazilian striker Joe as their record signing in a deal worth £18 million. He's expected to be unveiled by the club today after receiving clearance to complete the transfer of the 21-year-old CSKA Moscow player. Fabio Capella's England side have dropped 6 places to 15th in the last FIFA World rankings. Only 1 place ahead of Scotland. Northern Ireland 33rd. Wales 54th. Euro 2008 winners Spain have replaced Argentina at the top. There are reports today that Manchester United assistant manager Carlos Queiroz has been offered the job as Portugal coach. Sir Alex Ferguson has said he's desperate not to lose his right-hand man. Liverpool have made another bid for Gareth Barry. Their latest attempt to prize the England international from Villa Park is believed to be £15 million plus financial incentives. Former United striker Dwight Yorke has signed a new deal at Sunderland. Yorke will stay at the Stadium of Light for another season. Altrincham will begin their Blue Square Premier League campaign with a trip to Woking on Saturday, August the 9th. Northwich's season starts at home to Cambridge. UK sports are looking for at least 35 gold, silver and bronze medals in China next month, 5 more than the British team won in Athens 4 years ago. And finally, Queensland have clinched Australian Rugby League's State of Origin series. They beat New South Wales 16-10 in the deciding match.
Cricket's always getting put off for the weather. Why don't they play it indoors?
Post Watershed Wit and Wisdom with Sam Walker.
It's not so much the booze that's really done me in. I think it's the sugar. Because it was the other half's birthday as well. Big cake from his mother. His sister then bought him a massive box of those very posh cookies. And I think it's because I've not had any sugar for a couple of weeks. And now my body's going, but where is the sugar gone?
Sam Walker.
You know who was up for a bit of money-making schemage? I was driving to work, and there was a locksmith van. Safes opened and repaired. I was like, is that not burglary? You can call 888 locksmiths in, go, crack that open, just take all the stuff out, and I'll repair it. No one will ever know. What a genius idea.
Sam Walker.
It's worth the effort.
Tonight from 10 at BBC Radio Manchester.
Hello. How are you? Very good. Indeed, better than that. 0161 228 2255. Janice in Northwich says she recorded Criminal Justice on Sky Plus. She got the last half hour of the tennis and the whole of CJ. Brilliant. That's not CJ out of him from the Jelly Firm, is it? CJ. You know, with Leonard Rossiter. Never mind. You're probably too young. Oh, that sounds like good news, Janice. I hope mine has done the same. You can never be sure. The world is a cruel and wicked place. Alan in Crumpsall. Hiya, Alan.
Good afternoon, Alan.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm very well, yes.
I'm glad you got your market sorted out. What, bright pink, was it?
I can't remember now. Was it bright pink or bright yellow?
Pretty bright pink, gleaming.
Gleaming? Oh, aye, they were gleaming, whatever they were.
Alan, I was just adjusted, like you say, what I've seen on the television. It's about certain people get celebrities and football stars to get preferential treatment regarding you or I. And it's it's that thuggy football. It's Barton wants it, and everybody's seen the action on the television, and he could have killed that bloke. He went a smack right, full force in the face. He went back. He went right down, and as he went down, he hit his head on I think it was a telephone box, and he walked right over and started plummeting, left, right. Plus, that his mates were joining in, and one of his girlfriends.
Well, he's already done time for that one.
Yeah.
That's the earlier one. Yes. The thing that he was up in court for the other day, we've not got any footage of, any film of, and that was a fight that took place on...
Was that his mate?
No, it was the training ground incident that was in court for the other day.
Yeah, well, leave it on the television as well. Is a player, wasn't it? It was and it squared up to one another. Apparently.
Yeah, they were. Well, I don't know about squared up, but it was a fight with another player.
Yeah, that's
or
it.
it was an attack on another player on the training ground.
Yeah, well, that was on the television as well. Well, you thought a trainer did same bit looks of him. Full force again. Well, he said he can't help himself and all the rest of it. And Pete, I don't blame him for people like him. They do a lot that nobody sort of knows about. Whether he's done it, I don't know. What's the use of just finding them? And why has he been sacked, for instance?
Well, we don't know whether he's been sacked yet. Newcastle United are deciding his fate when they next get to speak to him. They can't. It's not fair to sack him without talking to him. Although if they've already decided to sack him, I can't see the point of the conversation, but they're going to have a discussion with him, and at the end of that discussion, they will make a decision. So they may well sack him yet, we don't know. And obviously they wouldn't sack him before the court case, because that would be seen to be preemptive, and that's just not done. Now, the other thing is, Joey Barton, he can't help himself. Well, he can't, because he's a thug.
A thug, yeah.
Yeah, and frankly, the treatment that's been meted out to him by the courts, honestly, I don't think it's that much different to that which has been meted out to others. And the reason I feel that is because I have a whole procession of people calling this programme from time to time, saying that all these thugs seem to get a very easy deal.
Well, they tend to do. They tend to emphasise on communal work and fining. Well, it's just like me saying to you, you're going to be fined £20 because they're on thousands of pounds a week. So that's no deterrent. But they just like...
Well, community work is probably, for somebody like him, a nasty thought.
Moralising, yeah.
Well, quite. I think a bit like with that stupid black model. I can't remember her name. I can remember that she's black. The one that she keeps fighting people and hitting people and throwing... Naomi Campbell, that's the one, yeah. All right, hag if ever there was. And they make her wear horrible clothes and brush the streets of New York. It's probably somewhat more painful than fining her, because that's demeaning, because she thinks she's better than everybody else, and she ain't.
She does, yeah.
And it's the same with this lunatic, Barton.
Well, sorry, Alan thugs, they just like beating people up to pulp.
Yeah.
They just like doing it.
I mean, I think what he needs is
to try it on Ricky Hatton.
Well, I don't know whether Ricky Hatton would do it, you see, because Ricky Hatton would probably talk his way out of it, because he's a boxer, not a fighter.
He's a boxer, yeah.
And a decent bloke, you see. What he really needs to do, Joey Barton, what they should have been able to do, is give him 5 days in the stocks.
Yeah.
And have him sat in Manchester High Street in the stocks and have everybody walk past and then just ignore him.
That's a very good idea, like you talked about the other day, aren't you?
Yeah, no, that's what he needs.
But it's all human rights agenda, we can't do that.
Well, we don't have those punishments anymore.
No,
frankly, I wish we did, but there you are. All right, mate.
OK, I'll see you.
Good on you. 0161 228 2255. If you've something to say, you're more than welcome. You've got a little bit of time, about 8 minutes, before we call it a day again. But then, of course, I've forgotten where we're going. But Matt White's out and about, gallivanting around. Aye, I've forgotten where. But they'll tell me. You've only got to wait a quarter of an hour, he'll tell you himself. I know. And Julie says, I've never personally had time off work or used menstruation as an excuse, nor do I know of any of my female friends doing so. There are always exceptions, but the picture of women Andy is painting is thoroughly sexist. Do you get your ideas about women from the pages of the Daily Mail or the Sun or a 1950s manual on how to keep your wife in check? Asks Julie. Presumably Andy would love to return to the 50s where women stayed at home all our day and were not allowed careers. I've never met a writer yet who wasn't arrogant. So there you are. I'm afraid, Julie, I don't know whether Andy's a writer or not, but no, there are no writers who aren't arrogant. And frankly, I don't know of any broadcasters that aren't either, seeing as how we're on the subject. But thank you for your email, 0161 228 2255. Dead easy. It's extraordinary, isn't it, what we find? If you want to join us, you can. There's still a bit of time. Eric in Runcorn. Hiya, Eric.
Hello, Alan.
What have you got for us?
Well, it's concerning trees on my neighbour's land that's overhanging my garden, and I'm wondering what I can legally do about it. You see, my boundary covers 3 back gardens. One has 30-foot conifers. The next one has 10-foot ivy.
Well, that's okay. So he's got trees that the branches are coming over into your garden, no matter what kind of a tree it is.
That's it.
Have you spoken to them about it?
I have to 2, but not the third.
What did they say, the 2?
Well, the first one said, I've no time to argue with you.
Mm.
And I said, you haven't got a case to answer, but we'll have
What did you say to him, then?
I said, I've come to tell you about the hedge that's on your land overhanging my garden.
Okay.
And I said, I expect you to cut it. Yeah, I'm 85 now, and I used to cut it.
Mm.
But he said, I've no time to argue with you, he said. And I said, well, you haven't got a case to answer.
Well, did he say he would cut it? Because arguing isn't what was wanted. You weren't asking for an argument, you were asking for cut it.
He just cut the conversation off there when he said, no time to argue with you. We left it there when I said, well, you haven't got a case to put. That was the first one.
Mm.
The next one, I said, I'll have to cut these lilac trees. It'll all fall on your ground.
Mm.
And he said, oh, well, that's okay. And that was left at that. But
Right.
the one with the conifers I haven't spoke to.
Okay, the conifers are the conifers also overhanging your land?
Oh, yes, by about 3 or 4 foot.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what you can do. It's always wise to have a conversation with your neighbours and see if they're prepared to say, oh, OK, I'll come and do it for you, I'm awfully sorry, which is what my neighbours would do, to be honest. Or to just let them know what you're going to do.
Right.
And what you're entitled to do is you're entitled to cut the bits that overhang.
Yes.
You're entitled to cut them back to the boundary.
Right.
But you're not allowed to keep the wood, because that doesn't belong to you.
Right.
So if you cut a branch off, you cut it at the boundary, and you put the branch then onto your neighbour's land.
Right.
And you do as little damage as is possible.
Yeah.
The only proviso to that is if any of the trees are listed, in other words, they're protected, you're not
Yeah.
allowed to cut them at all.
Right.
And you would need permission and a tree surgeon to do it.
Right.
Also, if it's 2/3 of the tree, I make the figure up, but if the amount of the tree in your garden, overhanging your garden, is such that the tree will die, then you really ought to be very, very careful in that circumstance, because they could sue you for killing the tree.
Right.
All right?
That's if it's overhanging by 2/3 the height.
Well, no. That's why I pull back. Ignore any reference to size. But if the amount that hangs over your garden is such that when you cut it, it will mean that the tree will die because you've taken so much of it off, then it's slightly different.
Right.
With regards the great big evergreen tree,
The
conifer,
it's 30 foot high.
well, I would have a word with your local authority first,
Right.
because they might be able to get him to reduce its height anyway.
Good.
All right?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks very much, Alan.
If you want more information, the Citizens Advice Bureau have very good information on tree overhanging and all the rest of it. Alan in Wigan, who called in about the email, but you may recall me chastising you and saying that you lot have been useless on the subject. Nothing I can do, you might as well face it. He's called the estate agents. Why he didn't do that in the first place, God alone knows, but never mind. He's called the estate agents, and they've got no idea how they've done it. They think it's magic as well. His email address is not listed on their computers. They're looking into it. Maybe another office has sent the email. That may be true, but how did they get his email address? I hope he stays with it. I didn't get where I was today without knowing that CJ was in charge of Sunshine Desserts, priceless 70s comedy, Derek in Lee. I said they made jellies. God almighty, how close do you want me to be? Alan, from a phone number, you could find out an ISP attached to that number, and then an email. That's Neil in Bebbington. ISP being Internet Service Provider, I presume. Anonymous. Alan, I had a lad who worked for me. He had a day off. I asked what happened yesterday. He said he had toothache. I said, you don't work with your teeth. You're sacked. Well, that's true, but do you give him time off for an haircut? Because it grows in work time. You see, you've got to balance these things out. And regarding sickness, the best cure... Yeah, we know this, David. The best cure for sickness is self-employment. When I used to say to my mum, I'm ill, she'd say, you're not. And I'd say, how do you know? And she'd say, 'cause I do. Off you go to school. Yeah, I had one of them mums. I don't know where they get them from. They don't seem to have the same kind of mums these days. It's a bit of a shame. And the Harlequin Theatre in Northwich, which I was somewhat dismissive of earlier, is a fine house. It's currently got Dracula running. They're also doing the Diary of Anne Frank quite soon, Alice in Wonderland, Of Mice and Men, Pride and Prejudice, and The Accidental Death of an Anarchist. And I don't feel well. See you tomorrow.
Is debt making your life a misery? Don't have another sleepless